G'day fellas, welcome back to the second game in my series against Knuschelbear. In this game, the civilizations are switched, so now I'm playing Ethiopia. He is playing Hausa. Now I've specifically picked this map. We're playing this map because there's no real natural trading post for Hausa to take. Hausa want to try and take trading posts close to their base and stack them with a university, and I wanted to prevent that from happening. So we're playing Ethiopia now. In the most recent patch, Ethiopia has been changed significantly. One of the most important cards, Jesuit Influence, has been switched. Used to be in Age 1. Now it's in Age 2. And because it's in Age 2, it means that ideally you need to age up a little bit faster so you can send it, because you still really need that card to hit your timings. Now, there are other strategies that you can do. So as an example, I know that there are players who have managed to take over the ladder by doing other strategies at the moment. I don't actually know what those strategies are yet, but I endeavor to find out. But the strategy that I sort of went with in this game was a take on what I had been using to climb up the ladder. So I think before the African expansion, I was probably sitting at around rank 50. And then, you know, now that the African expansion came out and I played with Ethiopia, I think I got up to rank 20 with the Ethiopians. So I was pretty satisfied that it was going to be strong. I was making sure I picked the right deck. So there's my deck. So I spot him coming up to the north. At this point, I'm thinking he might be going for a trading post. I'm not going to be able to stop him from going for a trading post if he wants to. But typically, Hausa players want to try and get that early trading post down. So I just start meleeing him. I just say, we're just going to try and be as annoying as we can, which is probably what he wants, because we're not really achieving anything by doing that. So first shipment coming in is the 2 villages plus the Abun. So it's going to be providing us a fair amount of economic bonus. Want to get this one in as quickly as possible. Abun's going to be doing the scouting to the north of the base, and the villagers obviously going to be doing the gathering. We've sold off 1 cow. That was what enabled us to get the first hunting upgrade, as well as drop that house down. And now we're going to be eating this cow. So normally we wouldn't eat a cow. Normally we would age up at 14 villages or 14 pop. We're not doing that here. So we're trying to age up with 13 villages, 13 pop. Is what we're going to be going for. And the idea is that we're going to get up extra fast so that we can send Jesuit Influence, and then our build orders hopefully not going to be too much affected by the fact that they've moved that card to age 2 rather than kept it in Age 1. So now we're clicking up. We clicked up at I think about 220. So a pretty good time. I was quite happy with that time. I said, you know what, like that's a pretty decent time. And so now transitioning all my villagers over to wood. You guys would be familiar with this build order. So we're going to be looking for a house and 230 wood, and then transitioning all the villagers back over onto food. And then so the idea is that I'm going to be looking to forward. Now I know he's got a trading post out right now. He has chosen the furthest away trading post. So I said, you know what, we're going to just forward up in that direction. So I send out 2 villagers. I say we're going to look to chop that tree, but on the way out there, we actually spot a hunt. So I say, you know what, we're just going to herd that hunt in as well. And yeah, from here, I mean, the opening of this game to me, at this point, I'm feeling really good about this. My primary thoughts are that he is going to be looking to do the same thing that I did in the last game, but probably just do it a little bit more efficient than what I did. Obviously, I invested a lot of resources into infrastructure that really didn't benefit me a lot. I put down a second palace when I didn't really get an economic bonus from it. I obviously got a defensive bonus from it. I used it as a military shipment point. But if I had a palace there, or a university there to help with it, I think it would have been a different story. So now moving those villagers forward to drop down that barracks. First shipment coming in, there's the Jesuit Influence. We're up at 3 minutes 50, so not too bad of a time. Dropping down the mountain monastery and then the church, just to get that extra line of sight up to the north. It doesn't really matter because the mountain monastery's line of sight is so big anyway. And now the war camp is going up. So at this point, I'm very happy because I see that his age up time is very slow. So he ages up at 413, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. 413, that is a late age up when it comes to the African civs. Like, if you're aging up at 413, like, you're not going to be rushing me. Like, if you're aging up 350, okay, I'm worried. But 413, we can deal with that. That's not too much of a problem. And so I try my best to scout him out. I'm scouting along the trading post line. You can see I've got my explorer just sort of kept here strategically. I was sort of looking or waiting for that wagon to come out. Nothing ever really came out in that direction. So we just moved the Explorer to the north, begin sieging, and that was going to be my focus. Now, keep in mind, I've eaten one of my cows. I never would have eaten that cow before, and as a result, I'm down a cow, which means I'm not going to be able to sell it. So it means that my economy is not going to be as strong as what it would have been before pre-patch, if that makes sense. Here, I'm trying to pull my Gascenia just a little bit faster, but unfortunately, they do get the pull, but then I stuff it up. And so now we begin sieging it down. So we're at 5 minutes 15, so this is pretty early in the game. So I'm not too worried about him coming in. Once again, we sell another cow, so we've got no more cows left. Normally in this position, we would have cows, but yeah, no cows. And now we've got enough influence that we can be sending in our cannoneers. So the cannoneers coming in, so it's a very, I wouldn't say typical build order, but it's the build order that I've worked on a lot. And so now I'm sending out my Explorer just to sort of scout out exactly what's happening. We do see that he's got the Javelin Riders, and I say, okay, that's what he's going for. I thought it might have been Fulani, but it was just the Javelin Riders, so I'm not too fussed at this point, just because I know that his trading post is almost dead. We get out a single Gascenia. So at this point, this is where you start to hurt from not having that cow. So I would have sold another cow at this point to finish that batch of Gascenia and to drop down another house, but I couldn't do that. So now this is where I've got to kind of adapt a little bit. I try to attack move, but because I've been playing AoE4, my hotkeys are a little bit different. So I didn't get my attack move off there, but it's okay. I say, you know what? We got 2 Javelin Riders. It's not terrible. It's a pretty good trade for us. And things are looking good. So I've lost the first game, but the second game, I'm feeling good about this because at this point, things are starting to, things are starting to look up. Everything's going to plan. I've taken out the early trading post. I've got that XP trickling because that's what I need to do. I need to get that extra XP. He's got Fulani that are beginning to push up. He trades a little bit onto me, killing one of my Gascenia, but that's okay. We're going to take that trade any day of the week because we have got our big boys. Now, one of the mistakes that I always make in this, or just in general, is that I overcommit with my starting army. And I was very scared that I was going to be overcommitting. So one of the things I necessarily regret from this game, but I think I would have done differently for this game is at this point right now, I should still be pushing. And the reason why is because we're at 7 minutes. My opponent could have a large army, but I should be able to hold, realistically, anything they throw at me. I just can't commit. I can maybe kill one building, maybe kill a tower, but the problem is I don't want to lose my mass. That is the big thing. If you lose your mass, you're absolutely stuffed because the Hausa player is going to have a greater economy than you. They're going to have more tempo than you. They're going to have bigger shipments, better shipments than you in the third age especially. So you've got to be careful with it. You can't overcommit. And now we've got Big Benny coming in. I kind of stuff up a little bit on the waypoint. He should have been in here. He should have been sold 5 seconds ago, 10 seconds ago. You can see how slow he is walking over there like that. My macro's absolutely looking shocking. Finally get Big Benny sold. Going up with the Portuguese here. Probably should have been going up with the Devrish instead, but that's okay. Portuguese are going to allow me to train Cannoneers if I need to, but I think I'm probably anchoring a little bit here to the old way that I played the Civ. Got some Raiders now coming in down to the south as well. I see these and I think, you know what, I'm not worried about these at all. This is fine. We spot it. We take out the Explorer. It's not like the Lakota. It's not super important to take out the Explorer, but obviously it's nice to get it out of there. It's a pretty big tank. So the fact that you can get it out of the way is pretty important. And continuing to train Gascenia. So at this point, I'm still feeling really good. The fact that we denied that raid, we haven't lost any villages yet. Everything's looking pretty good. We haven't done a lot of damage. But by the same token, we haven't really caused a lot of damage. Our hunts are in a pretty decent spot. We actually get a back hunt on this map in particular. You sometimes don't get a back hunt, so it can be a bit bad. So aging up 850. Not a bad timing. And now dropping down our Arsenal wagon, not picking up any of the techs from the Arsenal just yet. Gonna drop down a second war camp as well. And so at this point, this is where it's really important for me to get my upgrades and focus on increasing my mass and then getting my push to happen. And it's all about making sure that timing push hits. Just like the same game that he played against me, I want to make sure that my timing push is going to hit. So now I'm sending in the big boy from across the map. No forward base for this one. I spot a little raid up towards the north. Bring those villagers back in. I'm not sure exactly how much line of sight he's uncovered, whether he knows about that hunt or not. But nonetheless, I just pull those villagers back. I need to be really careful not to lose them. Kind of make a bit of a mistake here. I try to quick wall the raiders, but I fail miserably. And now trying to just get my Gascania. So first villager now going down. He spots my composition. I mean, you can pretty much guarantee what an Ethiopian player is going to be making at this point. But it's almost certainly just going to be Gascania with the big cannon. Big cannon now arrives. 10 minutes. At this point, I'm looking pretty good. I'm now getting the upgrade as well, so elite infantry coming in, going to be giving, I think it's a 25% bonus to my Gascania, so a really, really decent upgrade. I'm starting to stack up my influence as well, and so ideally I probably should have waited for 1,000 influence to come in before I push, so that would have been on my next shipment. I would have hit 1,000 influence, and I would have been able to do a timing push with an extra 15 cannoneers, and those guys obviously really, really good, really important to have. But I say, you know what, he's not age 3 yet. Let's keep pushing. We're up in score. We're looking pretty good at this point. I'm happy with my composition. I've got my elite upgrade. I've got more units, you know, beginning to come across the map. Bring in the explorer as well. So let's see what damage we can do. Try and take his army out. He comes in with a pretty low HP explorer, low HP unit. And so now we begin sieging down. I'm very cognizant of the fact that my units aren't sitting on top of my big boy. So I'm just making sure that I'm keeping my big boy back. I want to keep him away from shipment points, because if he goes underneath shipment points or close to shipment points, that's going to open him up to a potential cav pop or a devrish pop. So I just make sure that I sort of keep him covered. I'm on the lookout constantly for any flanking cavalry. Now, in the most recent patch, he got nerfed, the big boy. He lost, I think, 6 line of sight or 8 line of sight. So now Knusch has hit the 3rd age. This is where it starts to get a bit scary for me. So I'm thinking, all right, he probably doesn't have any other shipment points. We need to take out this TC. We take out this TC, he's not going to get any shipments in. There's the Fulani. And now I start to get a bit scared. I see his units posturing. I see him moving up around the left-hand side with my dead explorer. So I say, okay, he's coming in for a flank. I try to focus down his units with my big boy. First shot gets off. I continue moving back. I pick up a couple raiders at the back as well. It's looking good for me. I'm feeling pretty decent about this. Continue sieging down the town center at this point. Really just focusing it down. I need to get this down. That's what it's all about. And at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to just quickly macro. And as I'm macroing, he pushes in. It's perfect timing. Big Boy's in a bad spot. He's at the front. He's been pushed through a little bit too far. The raiders are on top doing extra damage. Big Boy is going down so fast. Big Boy's fallen. And once the big boy has fallen, I'm sure you guys know, I see all my villagers just sitting there idle. I'm thinking this is terrible timing. And Knusch just completely overwhelms me. There's so much stuff there. And it really just came down to the difference between his timing and my timing. My timing hit at like 12 minutes. His timing must have hit at least a couple minutes earlier. I see my Gascania in the back and I just say, good game. These guys didn't rally to the front. It was just, there were a lot of things that went wrong there, and unfortunately, it was bad timing on my part from a number of things. The first thing was definitely my macro timing, where I had idle villagers, and I was trying to get out that batch, and I needed to go to the market, and the hotkey for the market doesn't work, so I have to physically go back to the market, and because I didn't have any cattle there, it was like, I couldn't go back to the market, so there was a whole bunch of stuff, and yeah, as you can see now, just checking out the military population, he lost a lot, but he was just ahead in eco at that point. So that was the second game. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure you leave a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.